Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. My name is Porfirio Coronado, and I'm here with Dallas Area Habitat. And today we're going to discuss a topic that has to do with homeownership. All this week we have been talking about different financial literacy topics, and today we had to end it, with homeownership, with what we do best at here at Dallas Area Habitat. So I see a couple of names that have joined us all week. Miss Deetra. I also saw Miss Victoria, she's our MVP because she has joined us every day, every session. So thank you again for making some time to join us today, this morning. Today is day 5 of Financial Literacy Day week for us, but the whole month is Financial Literacy Month. So take the knowledge that you have learned today and, pass it along with any other friends, family members that can benefit from the information that we have shared. The recording is so we do record our sessions. In the case that you would like to go back and watch them again, they are being recorded. So, without further ado, we are going to get into it because it is the best topic, homeownership, right? And then, of course, I had to say the best person, me, to present it for y'all. Just kidding. All right. So let's go ahead and get started. Share my screen. All right, so determine your purchase power, okay? So, and then in this topic, we're going to talk about how much are you able to afford based on your income, okay? Now, before you even prepare to shop for a mortgage, buying a home is exciting, and you all know that, right? It's that eagerness to be a homeowner that makes it exciting, right? It is also going to be the most important financial decision that you will be making, okay? And probably the most expensive one too, right? Unless you purchase like a yacht or something like that too. But it is going to be, one of the most expensive financial decisions, okay? Now, which is why choosing the mortgage to pay for your house is just as important, okay? Now, when we discuss that, we're going to talk about what you're able to afford, okay? But before we even get to that, let's talk about what are the steps of buying a house, okay? So of course, you have to prepare to shop. And by preparing, we talk about, attending financial literacy classes like this week, right? Taking the homebuyer education class, right? Talking to a realtor, okay? And knowing what you're able to afford, okay? And then you explore your loan options, right? So what are you able to afford based on your income? Right? And then based on those loan options, then you compare them. Okay, so you're going to compare apples to apples, oranges to oranges, right? And then based on that decision, you are going to be able to close after that. Okay, so there's like the 4 major steps. You prepare to shop, you explore the loan choices, you compare the loan offers, and then you get ready to close. Now, keep in mind, between preparing to shop to whenever you get ready to close, it might be some time, okay? It might be, in today's market, you're probably going to be in there in anywhere from like 3 to 5 months, okay? It all depends on what you're able to afford and what are your needs and your wants, okay? Now, whenever you are thinking about buying a house, you have to understand what are the different loan options that you have, okay? So not all home loans are the same, but they all do have these 3 components, okay? In a loan, you're going to have your loan term, okay? The loan term of your loan is how long you have to repay that loan. Most of the time, as a first-time home buyer, you will pay your loan for 30 years, okay? You can also apply for a 15-year loan. And then, of course, they have other types of loans as well, okay? But just know that between a 30 and a 15 year, there's a big difference because for a 30 year, that is called a long-term loan, right? And for a 15 year, it's a short-term loan. So we'll talk about it in just a second. What are the difference? Now, in your loan, you're also going to have your interest rate type. Okay, the interest rate comes in 2 basic components. Okay, you could either have a fixed or an adjustable mortgage rate. Right? If fixed, that means that your principal and the interest is not going to change throughout the life of the loan. if you get an adjustable mortgage rate, then that means that your principal and your interest can change, okay, and will change, right? And we'll discuss again, all those, we'll go into detail. Now, you also have the loan type, okay? You probably heard about a conventional loan, okay, which is probably the most, the one that they offer the most, okay? And then also you have an FHA, okay? And then you also have special programs loans, such as if you are coming through like the Habitat program, that is a special program loan. If you go through any other lender that offers first-time home buyer products, those are just usually special loan programs, okay? So loans are categorized into this type of loan types, okay? Now, in a long term, okay, again, you have between a short term and a long term loan, okay? Now, in a short term loan, you're going to basically pay a higher monthly payment. Why? Because you're only going to have it for 15 years, right? Typically, your interest rates will be lower, okay? And then also your total cost will be lower as well, okay? In a long-term loan, your payments are going to be lower because again, you are escalating it for a longer period of time, right? So meaning that you're able to afford those lower payments. Now, typically your interest rates are going to be higher, okay? And then also you're going to have a higher total cost. Why? Because the loan is going to be for 30 years. And if you were here in previous classes, we talked about APR, right? So you're going to pay APR for an additional 15 years. So the total cost of the loan, it's going to be higher, okay? Just in general, in a long-term loan, the more interest you will pay, loans will be shorter, usually when the lower interest cost, but higher monthly payments than loans that will be with the long terms, okay? But a lot of that depends on other specific things, okay? Especially what is your interest rate and all that, okay? Now, the interest rates, okay? In your interest rate, you're going to have either a fixed rate or an adjustable rate, okay? In a fixed rate, you have lower risk and or surprises because you know what exactly where you're going to be paying for 30 years, right? In a high, and then you will have higher interest rates on it. And then the rate does not change, again, because it's going to be consistent. And which means because it's fixed, your monthly principal and interest payment will stay the same, okay? Now, in contrast, the adjustable rate mortgage, okay? It's a higher risk and you have very high uncertainty, okay? Why? Because your interest rate will change after the fixed period, okay? When you get an adjustable mortgage rate, you will have a fixed period, meaning that between year 1 to 7, your interest rate will not change. After that, your interest rate will change depending on what the market is at that time, right? So this type of loan or this type of interest rate, it's good for those people or those families that are basically looking for a short-term housing situation. For example, if you know that you're going to be moving within the next 5 years, right? Maybe an adjustable rate mortgage will be better for you because your interest rate will be lower, right? But if you know that this is going to be like a longer term housing situation where you're going to be there for over 5 years, maybe your fixed rate will be the better option for you. Okay, because again, it all depends on what your situation is like. So what I recommend for you all to do is that talk to your lenders and see to give you options depending on your needs at that time, right? And also think about what are your goals, right? Are your goals to purchase a house and stay in that house for 5 years? Is your goals to stay in that house for 17 years while your kids graduate, right, and go to college, right? So think about that whenever you're purchasing a house. Now, loan types. Again, you have an FHA, okay, which is federally backed by the government, okay? This FHA loans are good for those people that have lower down payment, okay? And for those that have a higher credit, a lower credit score, okay? Now, what that usually is going to mean is that you are more than likely going to pay a higher interest rate because you can have both things: a lower down payment, a lower credit score, and a low interest rate, right? Something has to give, because whenever you are in this FHA type of loan, you are a higher risk to the lender, right? Remember, just think about whenever you are, talking to a friend that you let them borrow money, right? That friend that doesn't ever pay you, it's more than likely that you are going to hesitate to let them borrow more, right, in the future, right? You might let them borrow, but you're going to be with more hesitation. That's the thing with an FHA type of loan. Now, you also have a conventional loan, okay, which is, again, I said it's the majority of the loans, okay, costs less than an FHA, but can be harder to get. And why do we say harder to get? It's because they do have credit score requirements, okay? Typically, you can get an FHA loan if your credit score is at 580, okay? With a conventional, you want to get your credit score above a 620, really a 640, okay? And then, of course, you have your special programs, okay, which are like for those that are veterans. There are loans out there for veterans, service members, or surviving spouses of veterans, okay? Now, you also have a USDA loan, okay, for those that that are in the low to middle income families buying in the rural areas, okay? For example, if you're thinking about buying like in Forney or, where it might still be considered rural right now, I think it's a good time for you to consider this type of loan, okay? Also, there's local loans for low to moderate income families, and then also first-time home buyers, okay? Such as like I mentioned to you, Dallas Area Habitat offers a special type of loan or special type of program loan for those people within our program. But there are also different lenders that offer this as well, okay? You just have to ask them, just like, okay, do you have any loans for first-time home buyers? Now, assessing your spendings. Okay, so we already know what type of loans and what each loan type means and fixed rate. Now let's talk about what are you currently paying right now. Okay, so before you even start your home shopping experience, look at your current spendings. Okay, look at your budget. Okay, because buying a new home means that you're going to have more expenses. Trust me, you will have more expenses. As soon as you move in, you're going to have a faucet that is going to be leaking. And remember, you're not a tenant anymore. You're a homeowner that now has to fix that, right? So if you don't have the means to do that, which is why throughout this whole week, we talked about, setting up a budget, setting up an emergency fund, because once you get to be a homeowner, that's when life real happens. That's when life really happens, right? So we want you to be prepared for that. You need to understand, you need an understanding on how much you can currently spend and decide what you're able to afford. Okay. And what I mean about that is, look at your current income. What are you bringing in right now? Right. And do you foresee that your income will stay the same? Or do you think that your income is going to decrease or increase? Right. And determine what you're able to afford based on that. And we'll set up some examples in just a second as well. But think about that. Like, okay, right now I'm able to afford my rent, which is $1,200 per month, plus my utilities of $500. You know, so that's 1,700. I guess I could afford a mortgage of 1,100, right? That way I can have $100 towards you know, emergency funds, right? So think about all that. Okay. Now, decide how much you can afford to spend in a total monthly payment. Okay. Again, in your mortgage payment, you're going to have your mortgage, your principal, which is your mortgage principal, your interest. So whatever they're letting you, whatever they're charging you to let you borrow that money. Of course, you're going to pay property taxes. And then you're going to pay homeowners insurance. And most of the time, you're going to be paying mortgage insurance as well. Okay. So I like participation on my webinar. So tell me, someone can tell me what is the difference between a homeowner's insurance and a mortgage insurance? A lot of people confuse this all the time. All right. I want to hear from someone, otherwise I will call someone out. So what is the difference between homeowner's insurance and mortgage insurance? All right, I'm gonna call someone out. I take it that you're typing. Miss Victoria, you're letting me down. Oh, there you go. I knew that Miss Victoria was going to participate. All right. Homeowners insurance protects the home. Exactly. And mortgage insurance, Nikki says mortgage insurance is back up for the payment, not for the mortgage. Exactly. Yes. Look at y'all. Y'all be paying attention all throughout this week. Yes. So homeowners insurance is basically protection towards your house, right? Mortgage insurance is protection for the mortgage in the case that you default. Okay. Now that doesn't say that that they're going to pay your mortgage for you in the case that you are behind. It means that the lender is protected in the case that you're behind, but you, as the person that has that loan, you're still in default and will continue to go through the default process, which is foreclosure and all that. Okay, so that's the difference, right? So in your mortgage payment, you're going to have your principal, your interest, your property taxes, homeowners insurance, and mortgage insurance. Now, your homeowners insurance, you're able to shop for, okay? Meaning that you can go with Geico, Liberty Mutual, you can go with State Farm, whatever company you want to go with, you're able to choose that. Okay, and of course your mortgage insurance, the lenders puts it in there for you. Okay, you're also going to have utility expenses, right? So whenever you think about how much you're able to afford on a on your home payment, you have your mortgage payment plus everything else, right? Utility expenses such as gas, such as electricity, water, you know. Sometimes you might have HOA dues, right? Especially if you buy, if your house has an HOA associated to it, okay? So think about your new budget whenever you are buying a house, okay? Because again, there's gonna be some things that you're gonna have to give up, right? You might not be able to do your nails, or you know, go out with your buddies every weekend, or you know, whatever the case might be. There might be some things that you have to give up as you are now a homeowner. Okay. And sometimes, like, again, that's the thing that you have to think about, because a lot of times you do have to give those up, and other times you probably don't, only if you can budget right. Okay, so if you didn't learn anything about this week, hopefully we got in there the importance of savings and budgets. Okay, especially in our demographic, the Black and Latino communities, we don't really equipped with this skills. So if anything, again, think about a budget and savings. Okay. All right. So whenever you are buying a house, and thinking about what you're able to afford, there's gonna be some terminology that you will hear a lot. You will hear more monthly gross income. Okay, so your monthly gross income is the amount of money you earn every month prior to anything being taken out. For example, any taxes paid other than and then the deductions that are removed. Okay, you're also going to be hearing your housing ratio. Okay, this is an estimate of the max mortgage payment based on your monthly gross income, MGI. Okay, and then you're also going to hear debt to income ratio. Okay, you might hear it's like your debt to income ratio is too high, or debt to income is like just where it needs to be low, right? What is it? It's all your monthly debt payments divided by your gross monthly income. Okay, this is the number in is a one way lenders measure your ability to manage the monthly payment to repay back to them. Okay, so I have a quick game for you all. Okay, well, not a game, it's an activity, and then we'll play a game if we have time. Okay, so calculating how much you can afford. So just imagine that you are a medical assistant, right? You earn $16 per hour. You work 40 hours a week. How much do you earn per week? Calculation time. Let's see. Who's the first one to put it in there? $16 an hour. Victoria. Of course, you do $16 per 40 hours. That's $640 per week. All right. So you earn $640 per week, right? You work 52 weeks out of the year. How much money do you earn per year? Yeah, I didn't know I was going to have you do calculations. Exactly, 33,280. Okay. So what about your, how much do you make per month? Anyone, how much do you make per month? If you make $33,280 per year, how much do you make per month? $2,773. That's correct, with 33 cents. All right. So that's your gross monthly income. Okay. So you already used the terminology monthly gross income. Okay. Now, let's talk about a housing ratio. Okay. Your housing ratio can range between 28 to 33. This ratio depends on the type of loan that you are going to be getting. If you're going to go with the FHA, if you're going to go with the USDA, any type of loan, that ratio is identified. Okay. But
hey, Porfirio,
yes, sir.
Question though. So the numbers are higher using the MGI, but it can get you in trouble because of the taxes, health insurance, and 401k. Wouldn't it be better to use 80% of your MGI, or why do banks and lenders use the full amount of our MGI?
Because so lenders use your monthly gross income because you can always change your take home, right? So for example, I'm a single person, right? In my taxes, or in my paychecks, I can put that I have 6 dependents, right? Where they don't take out no taxes for me, right? So I can change what I take home, right? But I can change what the gross income, right? So because of that reason, that's why lenders trying to be fair with everyone else. Then that's why they use the monthly gross income instead of what you actually take home. Good question, Christian. All right. So again, your housing ratio range between 28 to 33%. For this, in order for your house to be affordable, okay, and this is per HUD, okay, and this is what us as housing counselors want to teach you on, okay, that your mortgage payment should not be more than 30% of your gross monthly income. Okay, so that is in the case that you are making $2,773 per month, then 30% of that is $832. Okay, so that means that your mortgage payment should not be more than $832 in order for it to be affordable for you. Okay, now, like I said, it all depends on the ratio too, but try to keep it as close to the 30%. Okay, so that will be your estimated mortgage payment. Okay, so you could do the same calculations with your income. You write your gross monthly income multiplied by 30% and see and look at that number like, okay, well, $832. Could I find a house for $832 per month? And then at that time, you can, there are tools out there that are used to just to look at, don't take it for what they are. For example, like Realtor.com, Zillow, and all those. Look at it like, okay, could I get where are the houses located for $132 per month? Or where are the houses located for $1,300 per month? Because that's what you're able to afford based on your calculations. Now, debt to income ratio. So your debt to income ratio ranges between 36% to 45%. Okay. Again, this is your in other terms, they also use it as the back end ratio. And again, this also depends on the type of loan that that you get. Okay, it goes hand in hand with the front end ratio or the housing ratio. Okay, so if your total this is what is your total debt that you're able to afford with a 43% ratio? Okay, so again, back to your calculation. Okay, $2,773 per month. Right, multiply that by 43%. Then that means that you're able to afford a total of $1,192.53 on credit. Okay, you heard that word, on credit. This 43% or this debt to income ratio is including your housing ratio. Okay, so do you remember what it was for your calculation? $832. Okay, so what would be the debt without housing? Okay, so you would take your $1,119 minus $832, which is what you're able to afford on your mortgage payment, and that leaves you with $360. Okay, now this $360, it's anything else on credit, okay, such as like credit cards, car notes, student loans, that estimated monthly payment for student loans, anything that is on credit that you are making a monthly payment to, it's included on this 360. Okay. Now, whenever you do your own calculations, and we are, like I said, if we have time, we can play a game. But whenever you do these calculations, let's say, for instance, that I had a mortgage, that I was this medical assistant. My estimated mortgage payment is $832. I could afford a total of $1,119 on credit, right? Which means that I'm only left with $360 of other debt. What if I had a car note of $425 on credit? What does that tell me? Anyone? Exactly, you're in deficit. That means that I am not able to afford my mortgage payment of $832, right, on credit, right? Because again, that is based, that's what I am able to afford, but because I have so much credit or so much debt, I can't afford it on credit. Okay, so what I would need to do is see how could I pay that debt off so that I could afford my mortgage payment of $832. Okay, so look at that. Whenever you look at your calculations, multiply your gross monthly income, do the calculations that we just did with your own numbers. Okay. All right, so before, this is Habitat, we do what we want sometimes. All right, so let's go ahead and do a quick scenario with another person. So let's see. So, and this is going to be, I'm just going to say it out loud, and then you all tell me what you all think, okay? And we're going to go different scenarios, okay? So what if you have two earners, okay? You have two people that work, okay? One of them is a mail carrier that makes $47,000 a year, and the other one, it's a daycare worker who makes about $22,000 a year. Tell me, what are the affordability ratios for that person? So one person makes $47,000, the other person makes $22,000. Let's see, I'm gonna see if I can copy this here. That's the question. So one makes 47,000, the other one makes 22,000. What are the affordability ratios for that family household? All right, so yes, the gross monthly income is 5,750. That's right. So what are they able to afford based on the calculations that we just did, the ratios? All right, so you should have your income to be your gross monthly income. So the household annual income will be 69,000, right? That would bring you at 5,750 of your monthly gross income, right? So then we would take that gross monthly income of 5,750, multiply that by 30%. That gives you an estimated mortgage payment of 1,725. Okay, remember, we're doing the same calculations as here. Go back. We're doing the same calculation. Now, our debt, we would take that 5,750 and multiply by 43%. That's going to give us $2,472. Okay. So meaning that you are able to afford $747 of other debt. Right? What if that person had a car note of $500 on credit? Okay. Are they still able to afford their max mortgage loan? Yes, exactly. Because they are able to afford $747, right? So their mortgage, that stuff on credit, that car note, it was not, it's not going to impair them from being able to afford their max loan amounts. Okay. So thank you so much for participating. All right, so to conclude, there are many mortgage calculations available online, okay? Most mortgage calculators ask you to input a long term, okay? So whenever you do this, put a long term of 30 years, because like I said, again, that's probably going to be the most affordable for first-time home buyers. It also takes into consideration, your down payment. Okay, so the calculation that we just did, it was just to get us an estimate. Okay, and then again, just compare what your prices you're able to afford. And then homeownership can be a rewarding and a good way to build wealth, but there are risks and responsibilities associated with owning a property. Okay, and there's a lot of that. So any questions? I feel like I talk forever. I'm back. All right, any questions? Either I did very good or I did very bad because no questions. And like, I don't understand any of this topic.
Real, so B. Thomas did have a question, which we try to answer in the chat, but he says, so the housing ratio determines the max payment, including taxes and insurance?
Yes, correct. Yes. That's, again, that is your estimated mortgage payment. So it's not taking into consideration like your interest rate and all that, but it does include that.
And so you're saying based off the, AGI and, the affordability, and if they get a mortgage for that amount, we're looking at the payment, let's say, for example, $200. That's going to be the principal, interest, escrow, and all that good stuff. And then correct. On top of that, we got to add the debt ratio.
Yeah, correct. Christian said a keyword, escrow. Can anyone tell me what an escrow is? Anyone? I'm counting on you, Miss Victoria. You've been on it this week.
I don't know. I think Nikki might be able to give us the answer. Nikki's been good too. Oh, Thomas.
Okay. Escrow is an account where you can place money. Exactly. So an escrow is basically you are paying on a monthly basis, but your lender pays it annually, such as like your property taxes, your insurance. Okay. And those are two items that could be on the escrow account. Okay. A lot of times you will have, and this is something that you all need to know. Okay. Especially whenever you buy a house and you have money in your escrow, right? A lot of times you have money on that escrow. The first year, you're going to not pay enough property taxes because it's just a piece of land, right? Remember, the Central Appraiser District only evaluated the land. So which means that you're going to have a surplus on your escrow. You're going to get a check, right? That check is not yours. Send it back to the lender. Even though it's yours, it's technically not yours because you're supposed to be paying your taxes with it. So send it back to the lender or just save it, so that whenever the following year, whenever the Central Appraisal District actually evaluates the structure, which is the house, plus the actual land, then you already know that you have that money in there. Okay.
Porfirio, why do we need an escrow account, or what's it for?
This is something that happened after the housing crisis, because a lot of people, if you don't make it with your mortgage payment, a lot of times you have to make this payment annually. What happens annually? Christmas, New Year, Thanksgiving, New Year, Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year,
Texas State Fair.
State Fair, everything, right? And we don't have money. If we don't know how to budget, we don't have money to pay those big amount of property taxes and your insurance. So a lot of that, people were losing their houses because of that, right? Because they were not paying property tax and insurance. So what they did is that they just added to escrow, okay? Keep in mind, your escrow, you're only going to be paying it while you have a mortgage loan, okay? You won't be paying that forever, okay? So if you pay if your mortgage loan is for 15 years, for 30 years, you're probably going to be paying that for 15 to 30 years, okay? Once you pay off your loan, then you, as the homeowner, have to be responsible to pay that property taxes and insurance to the actual entities. Okay. All right. What other questions do you have? Because I believe we went over time. All right. Let's see. It's okay. The boss is here. She's in the back. All right. Yes, one more session. We do have one more session later today at noon. We're going to talk, make sure that you join us. We talked about what you're able to afford. So take this time, to look at your gross income, look at what you're able to afford, and come back later at noon. And yes, Ms. Marquita, go ahead and type your question. And come back at noon, because we're going to have a realtor that can tell us, if there are houses available for that amount. Let's say, for instance, I could ask you, like, hey, are there any houses available for $832 per month? And if so, where area? Oh, okay, yes.
And so Ms. Jackson's question was, how are we advising clients to deal with inflation on home buying when the income is so low?
How are we advising clients when inflation is so low? That's a good question. So in our counseling program, we focus on educating clients on, affordability, and then also on saving. So especially right now with the interest rates going up, then what we try to work with the clients is, look for down payment assistance programs, maybe a special loan programs that can be attached to a down payment assistance programs so that their mortgage could be affordable still. Good question. That's true. If your income is low, maybe homeownership right now would not be the best option for you. But yeah. All right. Well, again, join us later today at noon. Thank you so much for joining us. Again, this is the 5th day of Financial Literacy Week that we have here with Dallas Area Habitat. Again, my name is Porfirio. Thank you so much for joining us, and I look forward to working with you all.